Marinette, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Stuart.
You and I spoke with the attorneys for the Winnebago tribe today, and one of them said she saw a disconnect between the Department of the Interior, which is doing a deep dive into the boarding school era, and the Army, which is dragging its feet. What's going on here?
Yes, I think the Army is really very much interested in their internal workings, power, and policies. So I think that's what, in some ways, it's run afoul of that. I mean, they have a certain way of doing things, and they're very interested in maintaining that.
And Marinette, why is this suit, the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska suit against the Army, why is it important?
Well, I think it really speaks to tribal sovereignty and the relationship between tribes and the federal government and federal agencies. All other federal agencies have basically been instructed to cooperate and to consult with tribal nations whenever they conduct business, particularly with the business that has an impact on them. And the Army, in many ways, we could see that this is, a disregard of those orders.
And of course, the Army has been part of the boarding school era from day one.
Yes, that's absolutely true. They were very involved after Grant's peace policy during his administration. He recruited former colleagues that worked with him during the Civil War, General Tecumseh Sherman and Sheridan, who were responsible for this scorched earth policy and strategy that they utilized during their infamous March to the Sea. And they utilized those same strategies against the Plains tribes to ensure that there was opening for Western expansion and also access to Black Hills gold. So it was a strategy to keep the Plains tribes on reservations, and part of the Fort Laramie Treaty that Plains tribes signed indicated that they agreed to send their children to school. And Lieutenant Pratt, the founder of Carlisle Indian School, was ordered by the Commissioner of Indian Affairs at the time, Ezra H., to recruit children from those tribes to ensure that they would, that they would behave, if you will, and the children he described as hostages for their people's good behavior. So very early on, the Army has been very involved with Indians and boarding schools.
And of course, the impacts of the boarding school era are alive today.
Absolutely. When we talk about historical trauma and, the federal policies of assimilation, I think in many ways that we still bear the fallout from that.
And they're alive in your family.
Absolutely. I've just finished a book that I'm writing about my family's survival under the Indian boarding schools, and also sort of a sweeping history. And it's called Medicine River. That will be released next year.
Marinette, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Stuart.